Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Finish Coding. This is part 4 of our endless runner game which we're making on Scratch 3. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Just finished coding.
Now I have to interject here that if you've not watched parts 1 to 3, please watch them before you come here because as you can see, I'm picking up from where I left off, and for this video to make sense, you need to watch the previous ones. I will leave a card for you right here. Please watch the videos and then come right back. If you're still here, then I'm going to assume that you've watched parts 1, 2 and 3, in which case let's continue with our code. So as you can see here, I am in my log sprite, and what I'm going to do is head over to the stage. Now this is where I started my code, and what I'm going to do is once game over is yes, after we're done broadcasting the game text, I will broadcast a message and I will call this message game over. Now in this case, you don't really need a broadcast and wait. A broadcast would do. Let me just call it game over and then click OK. So basically when game over is broadcasted, what we will do is go to the explosion and show that entire animation. But we have to remember here that the game over will be broadcasted only when game over turns to no. Basically it's not yes anymore. And in order to make sure that game over turns to no, what you need to do is go to the hero sprite or the cat sprite, and you need to add in a couple of lines of code at the end. You can do it at the end of the tick. That's where I am going to do it. So you can grab an if else, then head over to sensing, and you can say if touching log. Now just by putting touching log, it implies touching any of the clones of the log. So this is going to pretty much take care of the cat hitting any of the logs. So in this case, we need to do two different things. When the explosion comes, we obviously need to make sure that we are hidden because we don't want the cat showing while it's exploding. That's just contradictory. And also what we need to do is the main thing. We need to set game over to no. And this is why the explosion shows up, right? So set game over to no. And this should be game over to yes. And this should be pretty much it. So game over set to yes now. It's no longer, this condition is true. The game over is yes. So we're going to exit this repeat until loop. And now we can head over to the explosion. So within the explosion, first of all, when the green flag is clicked, I'm going to hide. And I've not used init here, and that's for a specific reason. Just make sure you have when green flag is clicked. I think for the explosion init would be fine, but I'm going to go ahead with the green flag. Okay, so when green flag is clicked, I will hide, and I will also grab, or when I receive init, I will hide as well. So I'm going to do it both times. So when I receive init, let me hide, and this is when we receive game over. So head over to events once again. When we receive game over, the first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that the explosion is positioned right where the hero was. And to do that, you can use this block of code which says go to random position, and you can change that to any sprite you want. In this case, let's say go to hero, and after that we need to make sure it's right at the front, because if it's behind the hero, it's going to look pretty awkward. So head over to looks and grab a go to front layer. This should be it. Next, what we need to do is to show our explosion, because we don't want a hidden explosion. That defeats the purpose. So after we're done showing, we need to switch costume to the first costume. Now if you look at the costume list, we start with explosion 2, and I probably should have done a better job, putting these in order, maybe starting with 1, 2, 3 and so on. But what you basically need to do is say switch costume to explosion 2. And we have 8 different costumes in total. So we switch costumes 7 times. So grab a repeat 10, change that into a repeat 7. And each time we go through this repeat loop, we will just switch to the next costume. And once we're done with all of this, once we're done with this entire animation, I'm just going to hide the explosion. And that's it. That's all we need for this explosion sprite. And it's important to note that after we're done with this, we need to basically go on to the end screen, and the end screen isn't just going to appear magically. So you can head over to the stage once again, and here you can say when I receive game over, we can wait for a small duration. Alternatively, you could broadcast another message after the explosion is done. I just think this is easier. So when we receive game over, I'm going to wait for let's say 0.3 seconds. And after these 0.3 seconds are done, I'm going to switch my backdrop from sky to game over. So to do that, head over to looks and say switch backdrop to game over. And that should be it. I think this is going to be the code we need for the end screen, but it's just important to note that we haven't done the scoring system yet. So this part is going to be blank. Okay, we'll be fixing that in future videos. You don't have to worry about that too much for now, because we're just switching to the end screen and making sure that it works. Alright, so let's try this out. Let me hit the green flag and let's just bump into a log. So I'm just going to wait right there. Boom, we have an explosion and the logs and the ground does not hide. So we can fix that very quickly. So head over to the logs, scroll all the way below, and what you can do is you can actually change this pretty simply. You can just say, I don't think we're showing after, oh yeah, we are showing when we receive tick, but you've got to understand that we're no longer broadcasting tick. So you can just grab a when I receive game over, we can just hide, and we can do the same thing for the ground. For the ground, it's important we show it, I believe, when we receive a net. So let's grab a when I receive a net, grab a show from the looks category, and now you can duplicate this and say when we receive game over. In this case, we'll do the exact opposite, which is hiding the sprite. So hide, and this should be pretty much it. So let me click the green flag once again. Our cat runs. Let's wait for the log to come, and boom, we switch over to the game over end screen, and this is where we will want a play again coming. I'm not going to do the play again in this video. I'll probably leave it for the next one. But to finish this off, I will be dealing with the thumbnail. So head over to the thumbnail here, and we basically want the thumbnail to happen to come up every single time we press the red flag. We don't want the screen frozen like this. It looks pretty bad. So you can head over to starting with the events category. When we receive init, there's basically really nothing we need to do. There are some things, which is go to the front layer so that we're always, starting at the front. Anytime the player presses the stop key, we should be right at the front. So we need to go to the front layer, and then we need to become transparent. Okay, so you can say set ghost effect to 100, and this basically makes the entire thumbnail transparent. So when we receive a init and then we press the red flag, or I'm just going to call it the stop sign, when we press the stop sign, what is going to happen is all these effects are going to reset to their normal values, and we're just doing the equivalent of clearing graphic effects. So the ghost effect is going to be set to 0, and as a result, the thumbnail is going to show right in front of our faces. Now, I have to do the same thing when we receive tick, because it's probably impossible to do it when we to press the stop sign when we receive an init. That's just going to happen in milliseconds. So you can grab a when I receive tick. Once again, we will just go to front layer, and there's no need to even set ghost effect to anything this time, because it's already set up. We also need to do one more thing, which is to make sure that the tick, that the thumbnail is in front of the explosion even when we receive game over. So duplicate this once more, say when I receive game over, go to front layer as well. And this is pretty much it. So once you have this in place, and then you hit the green flag and you press the stop sign, alright, so nothing happens. This is pretty strange, and I guess that's because I didn't add in a show and hide. And this is just, this is just hiding always and never showing. So just add in a show right when we receive an it, and this should be good to go. So I'm going to hit the green flag, and boom, when we hit the stop sign, we have a pretty beautiful thumbnail. And that is pretty much all I'll be doing in this video. Like I mentioned, in the next video, we'll be dealing with the play again button and also with the score. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.